Box is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head to KFAN.com. Bonus Bucks is presented by 2 men in a junk truck.
We are awaiting the arrival of the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings at the podium, the dais. I think it's called the dais. Is that right? D-A-I-S? Is that a word? Did I just make something up?
Oh, it looks like it just started.
Oh, here's Kevin. Here's Kevin O'Connell.
Kevin, how much of what you're using in the offense is hinging on what you see from JJ, as opposed to putting everything on there and knowing this is everything we can use, or do you put more in based on what you saw last week on the field?
I just think it's about doing things that he's comfortable doing right now. Pre-snap, post-snap, what we're asking him to do in the pass game. Where are the areas that we're continually working fundamentally, and where are the areas where throughout the game, the ebbs and flows of games, where we see some of the inconsistencies that come with a young player who just made his third start. So I think we're going to try to do the things we think it gives our offense a chance, but all that goes through a scope of what JJ does well, what we think his role in the game plan can be to help us, and the things he does well fit with getting some of our best players on our offense going, as well as making sure we're very cognizant of the line of scrimmage and running the football as well.
Kevin, you talked a little bit after the game about that some of the out of the pocket throws being a little amped. I just wonder what, from an accuracy standpoint, some of those throws, what is required to be accurate?
Yeah, I think so much of it comes from the understanding of just the amount of RPMs you have to put on the throw, and he's got the ability, high level, to throw the ball very hard. But you guys have heard me talk about a lot of things in regards to things I look for in quarterbacks, and arm strength is normally not on the podium as far as the top things you're talking about. It is very important, especially with some of the coverages we get with Justin, or attacking some of the one-on-ones in tight coverage. But the most important thing is, as he learned on a few throws the other day, both completions he had that were critical, the long throw to Addison, really either one of the longer completions to Addison. But then also, it's not just the ones you complete, it's, are we giving guys a chance for run after catch as well, when we've married the run and the pass and set up a play pass with a chance for an explosive. It doesn't just have to be a catch and get back up and get 21 yards. It can be a 30, 40-yard catch and run. Especially we've seen what Justin can do with the ball in his hands. Addison, we gave him a jet sweep and he made 3 defenders miss and got a first down on a 2nd and 16 or 15 or whatever it was. So how many times can we just, and a lot of those plays are relatively low on the scale of difficulty, and then it becomes, the consistency of not only being accurate on this throw and this throw, but then, it's every single throw, every single play where we get that consistency from him, which I think he's definitely capable of, especially when you're focusing on the lower body mechanics and understanding the tempo that you can use throughout the game with your throw, different variations. And that's what the most important thing is for accuracy. And then once you start getting comfortable using that, then you got to get comfortable, something catches your eye, you got to throw it to a place where a guy's going. And if you're not going to throw it hard, you got to then, adjust for that in the type of throw you use. So I think it's all part of his development. It's all normal. And the best things about JJ are, in the biggest moment of the game the other day, he had a very, very, really good rep with Speedy to put the game away and ice it. And there wasn't a lot of fundamental encouragement before I called that play. It was, let him go be at his best when it's required to make the play.
What did you say to him prior to that? I mean, you had the 15 or so seconds here.
Yeah, it was more so just, coming off the previous sequence where I had kind of mentioned some things to him, but maybe didn't do a good enough job emphasizing as far as the clock, maybe, eating a little bit more clock, especially. And it was a little bit more about, like, hey, I'm going to take a shot here, but there is no scenario where an incompletion or a throwaway is better than a sack. to keep the clock running, or at least, make Dan have to use whatever timeout he had left in that moment. So, he understands when that play call comes in, we're trying to end the football game, and he's going to give Speedy a chance to make a play versus the one-on-one he got. But part of that is the trust in him to make that throw and in that moment, meet that moment to be able to give Speedy a chance to make a play. But if, let's say, they play zone or we don't like the look on the play, he's got to be able to tuck that thing, protect the football, and make sure the clock is our ally in that moment.
Kevin, the screen pass to Aaron Jones on the first drive of the game, is that JJ just checking into that? Like, is that a can at the line? Or,
Yeah, it was a can, but he still had to recognize the look and, thought, kind of went into the game plan knowing, the history we've had with the Lions and kind of maybe where they would go with the first, third down real opportunity of the game. And he did a great job recognizing the look and then really accurate throw. Brian O'Neill was fantastic on the play. Kind of had to make an adjustment based upon, we didn't have all 11 guys get the can in the noise, which is something we've got to improve on, But yeah, it was part of a kind of a play. But the quarterback still has to, get to the right play based upon the look, get it communicated to everybody. Really be the beacon of kind of making that whole thing go, and it's exactly what he was on that look.
How can a guy do all that? The quarterback, it seems so much that he has to be aware of and smart, reflexive, and all that stuff. And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And
a guy can do all that stuff at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I would equate it to, it would be like, if you're a high-level chef making a meal, we try to put the ingredients out on the counter and then leave the instructions right next to the ingredients and then potentially, have up until 15 seconds to help guide the crafting of that meal. That's how we try to do it, so it's not just show up to the stadium and figure it out all on your own. But you're exactly right. I mean, it's still a third start. Third start, making a play like that and recognizing the look and kind of taking the ingredients of the information that we talk about a lot during the week and getting the answers to the test via a lot of that is kind of, what you're looking for. And I've always thought JJ is a very, very high-level processor of information, whether it's protection calls and the things he has to have to make certain looks blockable and make it right. I've known that from the first time I sat down with him in Ann Arbor. So that's what makes you so encouraged and excited about the fact that some of the things we're working through right now with a young player, totally normal, are the physical side of things. The fact that he's so high capacity and capable mentally of so much is where you hope to see a young player grow within the same system for a long time, hopefully. So, but you're exactly right as far as you can turn on the TV and see that exact same look and not see the level of poise and ability to get the guys into the right play on that sequence for sure.
Kevin, was the trade deadline calm for you yesterday, or were there any possibilities that could have flushed out?
Yeah, I know there were some calls and some things, but what I thought Kwesi did a really good job communicating and kind of letting us know kind of what some of the possibilities were and talking through those. It's a game plan day, so we're pretty hard at work as coaches and. But yeah, nothing really materialized, and like I said, we've kind of felt like very similar to our opponent probably, who kind of dealt with some injury adversity, and now they're getting healthy and getting back to being the original team they thought they'd be, and they're a really good one. So we're hoping we're the same, and hoping and talking about it doesn't do a whole lot. We got to go put consistency on tape every single week.
The Ravens, what do you see with Kyle Hamilton and that defense and how they've seemingly gotten back on track?
Yeah, they make the trade for another safety, a really talented guy in Gilman, which allows Kyle Hamilton to then play pretty much predominantly the nickel spot, which they're playing a lot of nickel defense to basically every grouping. And then that also allows Humphrey to, stay out at the spot where he's incredibly impactful. at the outside corner spot. And I arguably think they have maybe the best combination of corners in the NFL. And then when you throw Hamilton in there as the nickel, I mean, it's an incredible challenge. And we feel great about our skill guys, but we've got to show up ready for a really, really tough task and test on Sunday.
Kevin, how would you describe just the impact that Andrew Van Ginkel makes on your entire defense?
Yeah.
And how big it'll be to have him for this week's challenge?
I think I showed the team a clip of him today. I think he got, hit from outside, got kind of knocked from a kind of a blindside block on a screen, and he's on the ground, but still recognizes that, Montgomery or Gibbs or whoever it was had the ball on the screen, and he makes the play. Like, it's not only the instinctiveness of plays like that really don't jump out, when he makes the play. I mean, obviously we all see the intercepting a screen for a touchdown or, picking off a hot throw in a zero. But it's all of those little ones, Will, that he does. And then it's just much like Harry at one of those safety spots, it's just the communication. It's everybody's on the same page. We had way more snaps with Andrew Van Ginkel on the field where all 11 guys did their jobs and knew exactly what the call was. So he provides so many layers of things to our defense that allows Flo to be who he wants to be as a play caller. And then, everybody seems to, Gink helps everybody else around him, not only himself, play at a high level. So it's impactful for sure.
Kevin, relative to Andrew Van Ginkel and other linebackers, Lamar Jackson, yes, I'm not in my seat today. 2 days in a row, I'm not in my seat. But relative to those linebackers and the challenge you face with Lamar Jackson, what do you need from those guys to be able to get it done this week?
Yeah, Lamar, he's just such a weapon now on schedule. When he's clean in the pocket, he's throwing in rhythm. They've got really, whether it's receivers with Zay in that group or it's the tight ends with Andrews in that group, they've got different running backs, whether it's the screen game or free release out of the backfield with Hill and Henry. You just have to know that, it's going to be just playing the initial snap is going to be hard enough. The scheme that they run, and it's very well coached and they're very physical. Playing the snap itself is the starting point. Then the next play starts when things do go off schedule. And we've played against some guys this year who have hurt us, whether it's internally getting up and out of the pocket where, you got to look at the tape and say, was our rush plan as disciplined as it needs to be versus a quarterback that can hurt you? And if you're going to turn the rush loose, do you have to have somebody accounting for that quarterback when they move? But to me, it's about disruption and it's about getting him off the spot. And then it's the player that gets him off the spot is more than likely not going to be able to always make the play. So who's the next guy there? And was there discipline in making sure you corral and keep him in the area that you have to, because he can change a game. Even if you've done it for 70 plays and you're in the fourth quarter, he can do it in a gotta-have-it moment and win the football game. So it's going to be a challenge. That's what makes the Ravens so difficult. I mean, we talked about their defensive skill players. We didn't even talk about, the fact they've got really good linebackers, a huge, big, heavy defensive front, really good edges. And offensively, they've got a physical O-line, one of the best backs in football, and a bunch of skill players to go along with the physicality that they could be explosive in a heartbeat. So all led by Lamar. So it's going to be it's a big-time challenge for sure.
Kevin, the intensity that JJ brought to your post-game celebration, did that catch you off guard at all?
It never catches me off guard. I just know to give him the football, deliver the message that I'd like to deliver, and then get the hell out of the way for my own personal safety in that moment. But look, you look around the locker room. I know I did. Not only when I'm talking about him, but after when he's saying a few words, and you just see the guys look at him, they see J.J. McCarthy being himself, and that's all I've ever really thought quarterbacks in this league need to do. Just much like a head coach, you got to be authentically yourself every single day, and he's absolutely that. I think that's what allows him to be ready for the moments in games where he's answered the bell, twice now in 2 divisional road games. But that does not mean I have to be really close and in arm's reach of him when he does those things. But the guys were excited. I did think it took way too long talking to Tom Brady. and we were waiting for him for an awful long time. The Lions don't make it easy on you. You guys know that. We got to run up a 2-mile hill to get to the locker room. So I did see video of him taking a nice brisk walk off the field up the ramp. So, maybe I'll encourage him to a slow jog would go a long way, so we can get back home here to the Twin Cities. But no, it was a cool moment. We've had a couple of them so far this year. Hope to have more.
Time for 2 more questions, guys.
Oh, was that it?
That's it.
Well, there was time for 2 more. We were just starting to get warmed up, plus my lunch isn't done yet. Maybe I can have Gourmet McCarthy. Is that what we should call him? I'm trying to think of, because the coach was using the analogy, he's like a chef. Chef Mac. Maybe just call him Chef Mac, where we give him the ingredients. Here you go. Have you ever watched Food Network?
I rarely do. It doesn't do a whole lot for me.
They have a show. My wife is really into it, and the boys were too. And when they would have it on, I would watch the show. And it was one of the shows on the Food Network was, I can't remember the name of it. I haven't watched it in a while, but they'll have 3 chefs. And they're given like 2 basic ingredients that might be just crazy. Like, your ingredients are a pumpkin, lobster, and rutabaga. Good luck. And then they have to go and make, it's called Chopped. That's the name of the show. So and then they can use other ingredients as well. But those main 3 ingredients have to be in the dish. And they're given 20 minutes. Of course, it's time lapse, right? They don't show the whole 20 minutes. And then the celebrity chefs, the restaurateurs, the very wealthy people that have made millions of dollars being a food person, they'll test the food and then they'll critique it. I really like what you did with the pumpkin and the lobster together, but there was one thing I didn't like. And then they'll chop one of the people; they'll be eliminated. And it's just like McCarthy. He gets the ingredients, whatever you give him.
I always love that.
And then all of a sudden, he was able to take those ingredients, and to me, it was a marvelous thing, is what it was. He was able to whip up a
5-star restaurant.
5-star restaurant. He was able to put together a wonderful he took all the ingredients, made a wonderful recipe, and the Vikings win. We'll take a break. We'll have
actually, we already did our break, so we can do 5 questions now.
Oh, let's go ahead and do 5 questions. Go ahead. Why don't we run it?
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
Time now for an in-depth look at the state of hockey.
It was a wild one at Grand Casino Arena last night. It started with this one. The Wild blow a late lead.
Blankenberg, break one, Stamkos a drive. He scored, but I think time expired. Let's see. There's zeros on the clock. Stamkos thinks he's tied it. We'll wait and see. Yep, 0.2 on the clock. They've tied the game.
Yep, he tied the game. It goes overtime, and then this happens.
Eric Holla, poke check by Johansson. The Wild have numbers here. Johansson in open ice for Kaprizov. Over the blue line, right side, Kaprizov. Dropped it back, Faber. Back to Kaprizov. Hacked it in front on it and pushed the net off. They score! They score! They're going to give it a good goal to the Wild. And Marcus Johansson has won it in overtime.
Yeah, Joe O'Donnell on the call last night right here on the Fan. Johansson scores the game winner in overtime with a net that had been dislodged. The Wild win 3-2 over the Predators. That's a 2-game winning streak for the Wild. They got power play goals from Kirill Kaprizov and Zeev Buyam, and Philip Gustafsson stopped 32 of 34 shots. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Wild win?
Well, admittedly, I always take a different, I come at it from a different angle. What I want to know is, did you see it live? If not, did you make sure you didn't see any social? And then did you watch the entire game on DVR?
I watched it all on DVR, and I hadn't known anything about it ahead of time. Yeah.
And so when did you watch it? Like when you got home from your hockey or whatever? Did you do it this morning? When did you watch the game?
It was about like 9:30ish last night.
And so then what time did it end?
Well, after you had to get kids to bed and stuff like that, so I had to pause for a second, but I got done around 11:20.
So it was like one of those West Coast games.
Yeah.
So no complaints from you last night, but now when they're playing on the West Coast, you complain.
Well, that was just my choice. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, so.
I don't complain for personal reasons all the time.
Like
I complain for the greater good. It's bad.
Did you really just say that? You did it
well,
for the
yes, for the sport of hockey and growing the game, it's best to have as many eyeballs on it as possible. It's a great sport. Why are we playing it so late?
I don't believe you, but I guess I'll have to take your word for it. So that's what started. All I could think about is Tenna watching this, and of course, as it was happening, I wanted to text you, but then you would have been annoyed with me. Because it was remarkable. Like I say, I was not watching. I'm on the couch dozing in and out, and Deuce woke me up on both occasions and goes, "You're not going to believe it. The Wild just gave up a goal with 0.3 seconds to go." And then he played it back, and I watched it. They're going to overtime, and I said, "Great." And I rolled back over. He thought I was going to get excited about overtime. And then he woke me up. He said, "You got to see this." And that's when I saw where they knocked the goalie knocked.
Yeah.
I just love saying the word moorings.
Moorings is a great word.
He knocked the net off its moorings, and the officials, and they wrote about it in Fish Wrap West.
And after they were mourning,
the
Predators were.
Wait, give yourself a rim shot there. It was either The Athletic or one of the Fish Wraps that did a story about, apparently it's a rule that not a lot of people know about, right? That an official can say, well, I know the puck didn't go in, but the goaltender knocked the net off its moorings, and had he not, that puck was on net, and we have to...
And I think they have to rule that he intentionally knocked the net off, too.
Do they have to do
yes.
that? Okay. So how do you... Now, again, I guess in a lot of cases, you can probably tell if a guy does it intentionally. But I would bet there have been times where it just looks that way and it didn't. But nevertheless, I think they made the right call on this one. It seemed like to me. But again, and you know me.
You can't be 100% sure.
Right.
But he knocked the net off. And he had done it previously in the game, too.
In the first period, someone told me. I'm not, you know me, I'm far from a homer. But I do think in this case, the right call was indeed made.
I agree.
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
The Timberwolves are at Madison Square Garden tonight to take on the New York Knicks. New York is favored by 5.5 points. The Wolves enter on a 2-game winning streak. Both these teams are 4-3. Anthony Edwards questionable to play with a hamstring injury. Bodega Cat questionable with an illness. Common is Wolves Knicks because of everything that's gone on with the trades. Is it must watch for you still?
Somebody's 4 will be no more. Somebody's 4 will be no more. Somebody's 3.
Well, they'll get a 4 in the loss column, though.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right. Somebody's 3 will be set free. Somebody's 3 will be set free. I don't know if it's much. I mean, I will say this. I really pick my spots with the Wolves. I think it's, and again, I'm making no apologies for it. I'm uninformed, unprepared, and unapologetic. I don't watch a lot of sports, particularly regular season stuff, unless it's the NFL. But I pick my spots with the Wolves. This would be one I would watch because I do like Bodega Cat. I always like Karl Anthony Towns. I thought I mean, again, I know while he was here, there were times where his defense was lacking. There were games he didn't show up. He complains to the officials way too much. But what I just said there were described hundreds of NBA players over the years, right? They've all done that. I always thought Towns kind of got a bad rap here. When he was traded, I think a lot of people were. I think he had a lot of detractors and people, fans in this town that didn't particularly care for him and blamed a lot of the Wolves' woeful shortcomings and inadequacies on Bodega Cat, or I guess Big Meow at the time. And look, he has to take his fair share of the blame, but I think he took too much. And I like him as a player, and And I do like watching him play. And I'm sure there's still a little bit of that. He played his whole career here, probably thought he was going to end his career here. Gets traded, and he didn't demand a trade. He didn't ask for one. He was just told one day, he was called in and told you're gone. So I'm sure there's still a little bit of that rubs him wrong. And his former teammates probably like to get together with him again and play. So yeah, I'll probably, and it's probably an early start, right? At 6:30 because it's in New York.
6:30, yeah.
Yeah, so because I'm usually, it's getting really sad to me. If we eat at like 7 o'clock, I'm on the couch asleep by 7:30. I'm getting like 10 hours of sleep, even when I get up early to play golf, because I can't stay awake. But I think I'll try to watch a little tonight's game. Yeah, I will.
Question number 3.
Why not?
We're gonna win, Twins. We're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Just want to state here, comment I'm about to read. I feel like I've been the only one talking about this.
Not even Warren?
Nobody's been talking about this.
Not even Warren.
I'm the only one I've heard talk about this.
So
I've sent the warning shots to Twins Nation.
So you're saying not even Warren talked about this? Okay.
Buster Olney of ESPN. There was a column today when answering, quote, who are the biggest names you are hearing could be traded this winter? Here's what he wrote. Because of the looming labor situation, some younger stars who are under team control in 2027 before reaching free agency could be shoved into the trade market by circumstances this winter. The best example, Joe Ryan, who is eligible for free agency after the 27 season. Typically, the Twins could wait until next summer's trade deadline to consider taking offers for Ryan. However, with many executives believing that at least some of the 27 season is in jeopardy because of labor strife, placing an appropriate trade valuation on Ryan will be much, much more complicated next July. Teams might not be willing to part with significant return if they believe the 27 season will be truncated or lost. So if teams want to get proper return on players like Ryan, they could be better served to take offers this winter rather than waiting until next summer. Common, will the Twins trade Joe Ryan this winter?
Well, my guess would be yes. Though, that would be my guess, but it might not be. I reserve the right to. How am I trying to say this? They could have traded him. Look, they traded 11 players last year at the trade deadline. They didn't trade Joe Ryan. Now, as Olney pointed out, and I've read it elsewhere, there were suitors for him, were there not? There were people that were inquiring about Joe Ryan.
Lots of teams would like to have Joe Ryan, yeah.
Particularly the Red Sox, is what I heard. So if you were planning to part ways with Joe Ryan, why wouldn't you have done it last year? Because it seems like they've kept a couple of key pieces. They have. Now, maybe that's just circumstance beyond their control. Maybe it's some mad scheme they have, or I don't know. But they didn't trade Royce Lewis. They didn't trade Byron Buxton. They've got Lopez, and they've got Joe Ryan. Those 4 players, I think, would garner a lot of interest. Even with Buxton's injury history, he was really healthy last year, and he was really good. And I think there are people that would say Royce Lewis has too much upside, too much talent. I know he's been injury-riddled and had a couple of slumps, but we think he could help our team. And we know Lopez is a quality pitcher, as is Ryan. So their actions during the trade deadline would lead you to believe they're willing to trade everybody, but they did keep some people, and they could have traded Ryan. So it's hard for me to put a finger on it exactly.
Might have just been a time management thing. Falvey didn't have enough time to make a 12th trade.
That could be it, too. So it's hard to really put your finger on, and so I'm not sure what they will do. But, yeah, he's right that you probably get more now than you'll get later.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Tennessee has a keyword for us. It's our national cash contest.
The Fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword money at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is money. Enter now at KFAN.com. KFAN welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra for 2 amazing shows at Target Center on December 28th at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now. Get complete show details, including a link to buy tickets at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Hard to find the funniest thing Tenneby ever said because, well, Tenneby really hasn't said that many funny things in his life, and I think he would agree with that. I've never seen him do flop, sweat, and tears. I mean,
no money, no funny.
Well, I can put a buck and a quarter in your hand.
I don't think that'll be worth the embarrassment I will have walking up on that stage.
Because somebody sent a text message here to the Bradshaw and Bryant the KFAN text line that says, I complain for the greater good is one of the funniest things Tenneby has ever said. Welcome back to the spotlight, young man.
I always love that.
Welcome back to the spotlight. Here's another one that I think I know you're going to say good for me. There's nothing I can't watch on TV. I have everything. I have satellite TV. I got cable TV. I've got a Fire Stick thing you can plug in. Whatever is on TV, I can find. Thank you. This one says, Wolves early on ESPN, but I can't watch due to Disney legal dispute with YouTube TV. And then he goes, no! Yes, that's exactly what he did. He had that in there. What dispute is this now? There's always a dispute between cable companies, satellite dishes, providers, streamers, right?
Too many things going on.
What's this one?
Too many
now?
options.
What is this problem now? Wolves early on ESPN, but I can't watch due to Disney legal dispute with YouTube.
I know there's a dispute between the two, but I haven't read into it more than that.
So in other words,
ESPN wants too much money, and YouTube TV's saying, no, we're not going to pay.
But that's what I'm trying to find out. Give me the basics, though. So YouTube, if you have YouTube TV, you can't get ESPN because ESPN Disney wants too much money from YouTube.
They didn't come to an agreement,
I see, okay.
Yeah. YouTube TV doesn't want to pass that extra charge on to their customers. Like every other dispute we've had with,
Because I've got YouTube TV, and I have it for one reason and one reason only, so I can watch out-of-market football. Deuce and I have 2 TVs hooked up at the same time, and we watch out-of-market football. Because I think I've made no bones about it. It's not a secret. I like the National Football League. It's my favorite sport. And in case you didn't know this, I'm a Lions fan. I was born in Detroit. Though we established this earlier in the week, I'll do it again. If it's the NFC Championship game this year between the Vikings and Detroit, and Will Reichert is standing over a 37-yard field goal, he'll probably kick it wide, right? If he's standing over 37, you know what? He's not. His name isn't Gary Anderson. If he's standing over, getting ready to kick a 37-yard field goal with 3 seconds to go, would I want him to make it so the Vikings go to the NFC Championship game, or would I want him to miss it so Detroit would? And my answer is the same as it was on Monday. If Reichert misses it, then 2 weeks from now, I'm sitting on my couch at 1314 Insane Lane in a bitterly cold February watching the Kitties play another game. If Reichert kicks it, Tenneby and I are on at least 1 week, maybe 2, but certainly a 1 week paid vacation, because we'll do our show from Santa Clara, and all the shows are going there. I mean, I know that in the past it's always just been the power trip, and of course PA would be there and in Barrero, but I think we would be, at least I hope we would, and maybe I'm wrong there, but let's just say we would for argument's sake. I'd rather... We'd go there, and while the other shows would be interviewing KOC and JJ McCarthy, we'd be getting like some sort of third-string special teams guy. Yes. Which is okay, because maybe we could get third-team special teams guy, since he's not playing anyway. He could fill out our foursome. And we could interview him on the golf course. Because you and I are going golfing if we go there. Of course. And we get to be in Santa. So why would I want the Lions to go to the big game? I like both clubs. You can do that.
Well, I was going to say the conundrum of which team to cheer for, we'd call that a good problem to have.
Yeah,
Lions Vikings in the NFC Championship game would be like your best case scenario.
That's a good problem to have. And as I mentioned before, I used to be a Denver Bronco fan because when the radio station I worked at, we were one of the and they had, how long does our post game go? I know the Denver Bronco radio network went for like 4 days. It would be like Wednesday, and they're still recapping the game. It seemed like
ours can go a couple hours.
It goes a couple hours as well. It's like, but I guess you got to do it, right? It's all about the money.
The fans want it.
The fans want it, and the advertisers are willing to pay for it, and we're willing to accept their money gleefully is what we're able to do. So, here's one that says, yes, come in for the first time in forever. I couldn't watch Monday Night Football because I have YouTube TV, so guess what? I got to watch Antique Roadshow on Disney. Antique Roadshow. My sister loves the Antique Roadshow. My sister and my brother both were antiquers, might still be. My brother has one of the coolest golf antique collections I've ever seen. He passed on some of his collection to me, too, and one of them is, I think I've talked about this before, I have a set of refurbished Johnny Bulla 1958 irons and persimmon woods, and I asked my brother, well, these look like the day they came off the assembly line. He said, they're they're basically brand new. I said, are they just for looks or can you play them? He said, well, you can play them. The thing is, to me, I'm sure you've seen a persimmon wood driver from the olden days. Well, it looks like a hybrid. That's
smaller than a hybrid.
It's smaller than a hybrid. It's like, well, how do you hit that even? But I plan one of these days to take those off and give them a.
It might make you a better golfer by being forced to play those things.
That's true. I got another real quick. Well, let's break. We'll come back. I want to. I've got another. I was nominated for a PST today when I said I didn't make any. I was putting really well, but I didn't make anything today. And Larry Mandela guy, Samanoka guy, and Lake Wobegon baseball guy all nominated me for a PST. I'll give you an example, an analogy, a comparison, and see if that will help them understand what you and I know to be true. You could be putting the ball really well, and the ball just doesn't find the bottom of the cup. That, other controversial topics, including NFL, power rankings. And Mark Rosen just before 2, right here on the Fan.
Join Meat Sauce this Sunday for a Vikings watch party unlike any other at the all-new Hop House at Mystic Lake Casino. Don't miss a minute of the action on the giant wall TV displays. Enjoy the best seats, food, and beverages, trivia and prize giveaways all game long, hosted by Meat Sauce. The party kicks off at noon. Get the details at KFAN.com keyword calendar.
What's the name of the place again?
Hop House at Mystic Lake Casino.
And what time will that be?
Noon on Sunday.
Very good. Couple 13-14 pastime common He's 10 to B. We've had a number of text messages come into the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. This one says, can we get a rock rank when you return from break? That's generally saved only when Brian Oak is here. He was out today. He brought a note from his parents that said, I can't be on the air today. So we accepted that. He will not get detention. And he will be returning next week. This one says, Common, I wanted to say I'm finally done with your book. Don't get me wrong, I didn't read it, but I did buy a new dinette set. No more wobbly table. Thanks, me boy. You did a great job. I do appreciate that. Here's one that says, of all things to nominate Common for PST, this putting statement's the last thing he should get nominated for. He's a walking preposterous statement. I resemble that statement. I talked about today about how I had one of the most enjoyable, there were highs and lows. There was, how did I say it the other day? There were things that were the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. But I carded a 78 today. I made a couple of really big putts. I made 3 6-footers that I had to have for par. And I made a couple of other nice putts. Including the one for bogey. I'm on 14. I just come off birdie bogey. So I birdied to get it back to +3. I was +3 at the turn. I parred 10, bogeyed 11, birdied 12, bogeyed 13, get to 14, front left pin. I hit it in the fairway, the greenside bunker left. My bunker play has gotten better over the past couple of weeks. I'm just focusing more. I'm reasonable doubt for reasonable fee guy. His tip sticks in my head. Pretend you're swinging underwater. Because people tend to get really quick in the bunker, including myself, and you get too steep and you dig in. I got the ball up and out of the bunker, but it got caught up in the rough, and then the lie wasn't very good, and it was a tight cut pin. I just didn't feel comfortable hitting a wedge there. I don't know why. I probably should have. So I decided to putt it instead. I kind of just popped at it, and it bounced up and went 6 feet past the pin. So now I'm thinking, well, now you're making double. It's over. But I made the 6-footer for bogey. I made it. I buried it. Well, then I already told you about the one where I Will Reicherded it between the trees and then got up and down on that one for par 15. That was a remarkable par. But I said I putted really well and nothing would go in, and 3 people nominated me for PST: Larry Mandela guy, Samanoka guy, and Lake Wobegon baseball guy. And you already backed me up on this. I don't think any of those of the 3 aforementioned moniker people have any idea. They don't play golf, because you can putt well and still not make anything. Let me give you an example. Let me see if this will help them understand. Tonight, Minnesota Timberwolves are at Madison Square Garden to take on Bodega Cat in the New York Knickerbockers, right? Is Ant playing tonight? Is he expected to play?
I haven't heard anything today. He was questionable.
Well, let's go with DiVincenzo.
Listed as questionable as of yesterday.
Let's go with DiVincenzo, or do we want to call him DiVincenzo? Because Mark Rosen says he likes to just change up the way he pronounces people's names, even if one of the ways to pronounce them is incorrect. What do we want to do today? Can it be DiVincenzo or DiVincenzo?
Let's go DiVincenzo.
Okay, so let's see DiVincenzo takes 10 3-point shots and makes 4. They'll say he's red hot.
Yes.
I mean, 4 of 10, 40% 3-point shooting is remarkable. Well, he missed 6. How can that be? So by the same logic, because I made some putts, it wasn't like I missed all of them, but because I missed a number of putts that just skirted the lip or whirled out, well, how can that be a preposterous statement? I'll even, knowing Larry Mandela guy the way I do, maybe I'll explain it to him this way. Last fall, we did a show at Rockwoods in Otsego. He thought he had a really good set. The lack of laughter would lead you to believe it wasn't a very good
Correct.
set. So just thought I'd throw that out there.
He had a good set. There just wasn't any laughs.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. He had a really good set. There just wasn't any laughs. It's the same thing. You had mentioned, is it Buster Olney?
Yeah.
Talking about Joe Ryan and that he could be a candidate to be traded. CBS Sports did a similar piece to me. They said, ranking top 25 Major League Baseball candidates, trade candidates, players who could be moved before 2026 season and potential landing spots. So I scrolled through looking for the Minnesota Twins, and Tennessee, not only is there, oh no, I scrolled too fast, sorry. Not only is Joe Ryan on that list, but there's another Minnesota Twin on that list.
Really?
Or at least on this list by Joe. I can't remember the guy's name that wrote the piece. I can get it for you later. I don't think it's important at this point. Who do you think that other player is? And oh, by the way, he ranked them. He has Ryan in and the other player 7 and 8. So in other words, he thinks there's a very good chance they could be traded.
Don't say Pablo Lopez. Royce Lewis.
No, it's none of the players I mentioned before.
Oh. Trying to remember who's all on the roster since we got rid of
It
half
is
our
hard. Ryan Jeffers.
Oh, yeah.
So here's what it says. Despite an extreme level of interest, the Twins did not trade Ryan at the deadline. Then he pitched to a 4.89 ERA the final 2 months of the season. I doubt that will scare away interested teams because Ryan comes with 2 affordable years of team control as an arbitration-eligible player. but it can't help matters. The fact that interested clubs will now only get 2 postseason runs of Ryan rather than 3 will lessen the return. Jeffers is a year away from free agency. Given how hard they sold at the deadline, it stands to reason the Twins will cash Jeffers in as a trade chip this winter rather than keep him at 2026. Keep him with designs on moving him at the deadline, and you open yourself up to all sorts of injury risk given the nature of the catcher position. Given the aggressiveness of Minnesota's deadline sale, we can't rule out a Pablo Lopez trade this winter either. So he throws Lopez in, but the Jeffers does make sense, right? Catching's always at a premium. Jeffers is pretty good. I think he's a decent hitter, is he not?
Yes.
And
he's got some pop to his bat.
And defensively, I think he's rock solid. So you're right. If you wait for him to get to free agency, you're getting nothing for him. So there's certainly a possibility he could be traded as well.
Are the Twins about to turn into one? There's always been like a section of Major League Baseball teams, like the bottom 10, where the payroll is just extremely low.
Yeah,
the Twins have always been, nowhere near the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets, but at least, we're north of $100 million. Are we about to turn into like a $50, $60 million payroll?
I don't know if we'll get that low, but it wouldn't shock me if they do. I mean, what were we last year?
Before or after the trades?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I think when the season started, we were. Did we go down to 130 or were we 130, like 130 something coming out of the season before they made the big massive cuts? I mean, again, I really don't care enough anymore because I don't think they care. That was the thing that I think that annoyed a lot of people, and including myself, was when the Pohlads had that piece. It was in Fish Wrap Factory West Side. Big sprawling piece.
So according to Spotrac.com, Twins payroll in 2025 was $129 million.
Okay.
Now for 2026, right now we only have 48.8 allocated. Their projected total, obviously there's always there's going to be arbitration stuff coming up, right? That'll determine things, but their projected total for next season is $93 million as of right now.
Yeah. And that's
Ryan Jeffers will make $6.5 million. Joe Ryan will make $6 million. Bailey Ober will make 6.8. Those are your third, fourth, and fifth guys on the list.
I don't know if that's Mediterranean and Baltic on the Monopoly board, but it's close. It certainly is Vermont, Connecticut, and Oriental, right?
Well, and we're paying Carlos Correa $10 million of his salary this year.
What if the Wild get out to a 2-0 lead tonight? Power rankings tend to be, you know me, I'm obsessed with it. I just love the nature of how they changed dramatically by 1 week. Now, remember, the Lions and the Packers were both highly regarded in the power rankings last week, both top 10. I think Detroit was number 2 in the power rankings. Let's see where that. Now the Philadelphia Eagles have vaulted to number 1. They were at number 3 before, tend to be. They go up to number 1. What do you think they're, and by the way, I think I told you this, but this is from The Athletic. The Athletic likes to do, along with the power ranking, they'll always have something like, well, for instance, today they have the mid-season report card, the mid-season grade. They give the Eagles an A-. The Eagles an A-, and they say they are the best team in pro football. Number 2, the Rams of Los Angeles at number 2. They are 6-2, beat the Saints this past Sunday. Their midseason grade is an A. Your Buffalo Bills are at 6-2. They are number 3 in the power rankings. They have a grade of A-. Tampa Bay is now number 4, up from number 7 last week. Their midseason grade is A-. And here's what's funny about the power rankings. After Detroit pounded Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago, Detroit vaulted to 2, Tampa slipped. Now, and, again, you can beat a team and still, do you believe in that? Like, could you make an argument that Detroit is still a better team than the Minnesota Vikings?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
See,
they have a better record.
Yeah, and right. And I'm not even saying that they are, but I'm just saying you can make that argument. But Tampa Bay has a better record than Detroit at 6-2, so they've been put back up, even though Detroit beat them rather handily. The Colts go from number 1 to number 5. All because of a loss to the Steelers, 27-20.
I'm actually surprised Seattle hasn't hit this list yet.
They might be coming.
Okay.
Mid-season grade, A+ for the Colts. It's hard to argue with that. It's been a magical season.
And they just went out and got Sauce Gardner.
Yes, they did. Here's your Seahawks, tend to be at number 6. They come up from 11. Their mid-season grade is an A. It says halfway through the season, Sam Darnold should be the MVP front runner.
Oh my gosh.
Old Sam Darnold had an arm. E-I-E-I-O. I recognize that name from somewhere. Why can't we get guys like Sam Darnold? He left a quarterback-friendly scheme and roster in Minnesota only to completely flip Seattle's offense. Darnold ranks first among quarterbacks in EPA per play. What's EPA?
It's like an efficiency.
Expected performance efficiency or something.
Expected points. I don't know.
He ranks first among quarterbacks in EPA per play. Because I think like EPA is the Environmental Protection Agency, I thought. Maybe it's in protecting the environment. Maybe he's good at it. Darnold ranks first among quarterbacks in EPA per play, success rate in yards per attempt. Your kiddies go from 2 to 7, Tennessee. They get a midseason grade of a B. It says their running game was stuck in the mud Sunday against B-Flow's Vikings defense, but this is still a really good football team. There won't be many more opponents who can bottle up Gibbs and Montgomery the way Minnesota did. They need to get their offensive line healthy. We talk about it all the time, Tennessee. It's the number one reason a team is either good or bad or in between, is because if you have a solid roster, but it's decimated with injuries, it's just hard to win. It really is. And the Vikings saw that when their offensive line was in shambles for the first, how many games have they played now? 8? First 7 weeks, right? And now finally, they had their new center, who I think they like there. So I consider him starting center now anyway. And then they had the 2 bookend tackles, O'Neal and
one played the entire game.
Yes, and Jackson at left tackle or left guard. And then our right guard is it Fries? Is that his name? Yeah. So you saw when you have your starting offensive lineman in, how much better it can be. Broncos are at 8, Patriots at 9, Kansas City Chiefs at 10. 5-4 Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, Tennessee. It's hard for me. I don't think you can sleep on Kansas City. It's almost like...
And they still have a tough schedule the rest of the way, too.
Yeah.
But for them, they just need to get in.
Well, that's the thing.
Doesn't matter where they are.
It's almost as if, as long as they make the tournament, that's really all that matters.
They can play anywhere.
Yeah. It's the same with when we talk about, when I've bemoaned the fact that the Wolves, had they won a couple of extra games last year that they should have won, they could have been a 3 or 4 seed. They ended up being the 6 seed, almost slipped in that play-in. But guess what? They still made the conference finals. So you just want to make sure you get in, and Kansas City is one of those teams if they just get in. Green Bay plummets to 11th. They had been 6th. I'm still looking for the Vikings. The Steelers at 12, the Niners at 13.
Have you said the Patriots yet?
I didn't I? Or did I not? No, the Patriots are... Oh, yeah, they're at 9.
As I say, they're 7-2.
Yeah,
so
they're at 9. Chiefs 10. Packers at 11. Steelers at 12. Niners at 13. Chargers at 14. Jaguars at 15. Panthers at 16.
We're behind the Panthers?
We're behind the Bears at 17. The Vikings at 18. Their midseason grade, a C+. Here's what it says about the Vikings. On one hand, you could argue they deserve a better mark considering Carson Wentz started 5 games for them. On the other hand, this is a roster with Super Bowl aspirations, and you think an offense with Justin Jefferson would rank higher than 27th in the league in EPA per play. So still not a lot of believers in the Vikings. And I got to be honest with you, Tennessee, I think this is another barometer game. I think they all are. But it was nice to beat the Lions, to get on the right side of the win-loss column with a really good performance, their best all-around performance of the year. but you got to stack them, right?
You got to keep stacking them.
You got to stack them, and so let's stack one at home against a really good Ravens. Expected points added, I'm being told, is EPA. Expected points added. The only points I expect to be added are when they score. That's just me. We'll break. We'll come back. We'll welcome the legendary Mark Rosen into the Common Man conversation. That's next here on The Fan.